Hey, you guys and gals, welcome back to another episode of Andrew-Unfiltered. I just wanted to get on and tell a true VA story of when when I needed to go get sleep apnea checked. I didn't get it checked while I was in the military because I always thought that I had stress, that it was just an intricate part of being in the military, being in a senior leadership role. But when the stress and all the excess stuff that came with it, I wanted to make sure I didn't have sleep apnea. So I set up an appointment. Took about 3 months to get. Finally got my appointment. Went to the VA. Picked up this device that you strap on your chest, strap on your finger, put some probes on, and I went to bed that night. Went to bed feeling like a science project. But came off a couple of times. I had to put it back on. I had snoring, sleeping, waking up, having nightmares. So I don't know if the data was inconsistent or not. But the next day, I took the device back to the VA, then came back home. And I would say probably about 3 weeks later, they called me with the results. So I was like, cool, let's go to the doctor. Let's make this trek to Dallas during traffic and see what we got here. Went to the VA, checked in, sat down at the reception's desk waiting for my name to be called. But this veteran walks in, and I don't know if he was there for sleep apnea, but he just saw me sitting there and just came by and sat down, and he was just staring at me from across the way. He's probably about, I don't know, 6, 7 feet. Then I was just like, you know what? This guy probably wants to talk. So I walked over there, had a good 45-minute conversation with him, and he began to tell me, he's like, what are you here for? I was like, well, I'm just trying to, check on my sleep apnea, make sure everything's good with me while I sleep. And he's like, oh, I was like, man, you seem like you've got a world of issues going on. He's like, yeah, I'm just going downhill from here. I was like, well, that sucks, man. Have you been able to see a doctor? And he's like, no, I'm only rated 10%. 10%. And I was like, well, damn, man, you got an oxygen machine on. You're walking with a cane and you look like crap. Pardon it, but you look like crap. He's like, yeah, I've been trying to get my rating bumped up due to some issues and whatnot. And the VA just keeps denying me. I was like, well, have you appealed it? He's like, yeah, I'm still waiting for the appeal process. Then he just looked, was telling me some Vietnam stories. And he began to tell me about him being suicidal. I was like, well, dang, man, that's deep. And he's like, I told him, I was like, hey, I've been there. I've been in that situation. So what's going on? He's like, yeah, my kids came to my house, found my pistol and took it away from me. They're trying to keep me off the alcohol. I was like, well, that's good. Those kind of kids, you need to praise because they're trying to keep their dad alive. And he just began rambling, talking some more about war stories. And it began to like he was cheering up. So if you run into veterans like at a doctor's appointment or on the streets or whatever, just listen to them. That's all we want, is to tell a story. We just want somebody to listen to. In the Marine Corps, we always had our peers. We could go BS with them. Relieve some stress by talking about what's going on. They'd probably give you the side eye or not stare at you, but at least that you knew they were listening to you. Anyways, I heard my name being called. I was like, Mr. Dunn, Mr. Dunn. Okay, I was like, cool. Let me go back to sit here behind this desk over to the doctor's office. And this guy came out in this yellow stained doctor's coat. And he began to tell me, he's like, well, Mr. Dunn, let me ask you some questions. I was like, sure, why not? He's like, do you fall asleep easily? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm always tired. I feel like I don't get enough sleep. And he's like, well, do you fall asleep driving? I was like, no, nobody with common sense would fall asleep driving. I mean, I don't intentionally try to drive and take a nap at the same time. I mean, I'm not trying to kill myself. He's like, well, you don't have sleep apnea. I was like, well, what do you mean? He said, well, your test results came back, and they came back that you had 4.9 apneas that night you took the test, and the VA only acknowledges 5 apneas to be considered to have sleep apnea. I was like, well, it's 0.1%. 0.1. 0.1. And he's like, yeah, you don't have sleep apnea. And I was like, well, I'm not here for a disability rating. I'm just here to see about getting a CPAP so I can sleep better at night. I mean, that's all I want. I don't want money from you guys. I just want to be able to sleep. He's like, no, the VA is not here to support that type of claim. We're trying to take care of people who actually have the ailments or the disabilities of sleep apnea. I was like, man, that rationale does not make any sense to me. How can a person have 4.9, but the VA considers it to be 5? I was like, where does that one need to come from? Does it need for me to have my heart stop at night and die for a few minutes and come back to life to even be considered to have sleep apnea? And he began to stare at me like I was talking some truth or talking behind his BS. Then he began talking. I was like, look, sir, I'm done here. You've already stated I don't have sleep apnea, so there's really no reason for me to be here. And he just began talking, and I left. You know, this is the support that you see in the news, the piss poor support that you see in the news from the VA doctors. You know, the Marine Corps, specifically for me, or the Army, the Air Force, or whatever, they took every ounce of your soul and just put it underneath a boot and crushed it. And they just kicked you out, retired, did whatever, and they don't think twice. They don't even know you exist anymore. You're no longer a statistic in the military. You're now a statistic in the Veteran Affairs database. So what I'm trying to say is there is other means of getting medical support other than relying on the VA. And I know it costs money to do this, but if you're really in that much pain, trouble, you want to get a good night's sleep, sometimes you're just going to have to do it on your own. And that's what I did. I went to a civilian doctor who diagnosed me well, who took care of me to state, hey, you do have sleep apnea, but it's not as worse as some other people out there who die, you know, a couple of seconds during the night. I was like, look, I don't care. I just want to be able to get oxygen into my system while I sleep, you know, because I think my O2 level went down to about 85 when I was sleeping. And it's like, that's all I want, because without oxygen in your body, you're going to wake up feeling like crap. And so you know, working with a civilian company, they were very supportive of my needs. And I eventually got my CPAP machine, and I sleep perfect at night. And I didn't go to the VA and say, hey, I've got sleep apnea. Here's the results from a civilian company. I just wanted to sleep. So I hope you enjoy, or this has been an enlightful story. I'm not saying every VA is the same, but there are some VAs that just sell their souls to the devil. You know, the doctors, like, to get into becoming a VA doctor, you need to sign the dotted line on blood. But with that, I hope you find my story eventful. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button, because subscribing to the channel, Andrew-Unfiltered, I'm going to bring you stories about my life, stories about my VA visits, stories about me talking to veterans. So subscribe to the channel. Click that bell when I drop a new video. Heck, even give it a like or two. Well, you can only give it one, but, you know, give it a like. I'm here to help you, help myself on my mental illness journey. And with that, I need to go wrangle the kids up. It's past their bedtime, and they are running amok in the house. So with that, I bid you adieu, and I hope you have a good night.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes.